Hey, I'm Weekend Gabe, and you're checking out Weekend at Gabe's, and thanks for checking out this latest episode. While you're here, also follow us on these social medias at Weekend Gabe, at Weekend at Gabe's, and also at The Real Sam Crane. Thanks for checking us out. All right, let's reset. I'm Weekend Gabe, The Real Sam Crane's to my right. Follow us on these social medias at Weekend Gabe, at Weekend at Gabe's, and The Real Sam Crane. For all our first-time viewers, you are checking out Weekend at Gabe's, the hottest internet show on the planet, as long as we are still on this planet. All right, joining us now from an undisclosed location, also somewhere in Chicago, from Florida, but now Chicago-based. It is a pleasure to introduce hip hop producer, artist, and just all around good guy, Southpaw Swade. How are you?
I'm good, man. How y'all doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
I'm fantastic. Thank you for giving us your time. We appreciate it so much.
Yes,
First, I want to get into you've been in Chicago for about 5-6 years now.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Are you officially repping Chicago as the crib? Like, is this the place that you say this is home?
So, like, yes and no. Because here's the thing. Like, I love Chicago, but like, people from Chicago are so serious about like if you from Chicago or not.
Hey,
so,
hey,
like,
you know who's a motherfucker like that?
Is
this man right here.
So, like, I don't ever want to be like one of the, like a nigga could be from like Oak Park, which is like across the street from Chicago. And
hey, hold on. I gotta shout out Oak Park. I happen to be from Oak Park. I apologize.
Oh, but then you're not from the city, bro.
Apparently, I'm not from the crib, but I'm on the line. That's what I'm trying to tell people. I'm on the grid line.
You're not from here, so like, yeah. and I'm not from here. So, but like, I love it here. I love so many people here. So it's like I always call it second home because. I don't want to encroach upon people. Niggas love Chicago, and I do too, but I'm just not from here.
Word.
Yeah, we love you. We rep you, man. Don't worry.
Appreciate it.
We'll take you off Florida's hands any day. Yeah.
Oh yeah. If they don't want you, that's fine. We'll definitely go to the draft and go up.
Bet.
Well, thanks for giving us your time. And I think we should maybe start there a little bit. So what I heard or read from some previous interviews you did is that when you were starting to create music, it was Florida and your hometown weren't really reflective of the vibe and the feel of the music you were making. And then you come to Chicago, you're working with some artists, doing a video, and you kind of figure out like in 2015, 16, that this is a more comforting space for you and your sound. Talk a little bit about what that meant as far as finding sort of this this Emerald City that was welcoming and comforting for you.
Man, so like, yeah, being at home and it's like kind of like we're at a point now where kind of like styles and music are kind of inundated everywhere. But really early 2015, we still got like I think things were still pretty regional at that point, right? And yeah, the stuff that I was hearing at home just really wasn't the vibe that I was on. And coming here and like I'm accidentally in rooms with people like Mick. I'm accidentally in rooms listening to like new Smino, like before people even knew who like Smino really was, really. Like, and I'm just like, damn, like niggas is making music that's jamming, but it's also like there's some weight to it. Like there's something to be said. And not that every song gotta be this most like not that every song has to be a book, or life instructions, but it's just beautiful to have the mixture like that exists here. The gumbo. There's Southern influence. There's West influence. There's all of that because we're in the Midwest. But there's like a genuine feel to the music here, and I think it's like it's blue collar. It's genuine. It's like people who actually care about you are making music for you.
I would say it's soulful here. I feel like Florida at that time, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was almost like a valve release. Like there was this pent up tension, and it was everybody trying to get that out.
Because
was it that soul sound that you was looking for?
Yeah, so like in Florida at the time, we're talking early Triple X, like super early. We talking early Ski Mask. We talking early Denzel Curry, and I love all that stuff. Like I really do, but it's just not what I make. Um, so like coming up here and just being embraced in the soulfulness, the incorporation of jazz, the incorporation of gospel, the incorporation of all these things was just really inspiring because it was already the wavelength I was on. It just wasn't what was happening around me.
Mm, mm. I want to talk a little bit about outside of music in Florida. I heard in another interview, and I don't want to drub down on this topic too much, but I heard in another interview they asked you about your craziest Florida man stories, and you say you didn't realize it was nuts until you left.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little bit more? And because Chicago is nuts too in its own way. What is the difference in crazy between those two spots?
I think Florida's kind of like, you know, the story of like you could cook a frog slowly, like in boiling water, like as long as you can't throw it in hot water, but you could turn the water on and let it. That's what being in Florida is on. Like you're in a pressure cooker and you have no idea, like because pressure cooker is normal. So like people would be like, "Oh, Florida man this, Florida man that," and I'm just like, "Yeah, nigga, I saw that Tuesday. Like, what's the problem?" So like I think there's like a belligerent craziness to Florida. Like there's like a and on the positive side, there's like a freedom. There's like a freedom to just like kind of be a wild ass nigga if that's who you are. You know, like so it's kind of that's one side. I think Chicago. I think some of the wildness. I think some of the wildness just comes with like being in a cityscape, like really being in the city. Um, it's there's certain stuff that you just I'm from like the middle of nowhere, Florida, so it's like there's certain stuff that you just won't see. Um, yeah, like attitudes and you know all kinds of stuff. I'm from a place where people say hello, hi, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like what's your name, pal? Like you know what I'm saying? People do that kind of stuff. But like it was none of that. Like when I came up here, I'd be walking up, I'd be heading out people, I'd be, hey, what's up? And niggas just walk on by, which I had to get used to that. I had to get used to that. Yeah, I was looking real out of townish when I first got here.
Was that a culture shock? Like how long did that last before you figured out? You're like, oh shit, like it doesn't reflect like where I come from.
I think I'm a quick study, so it was like a week. It was like a week of like going, hey, how you doing? And then people looking like, ugh. So, like it was like a week of that, and I was like, okay, I gotta switch that up a little bit. Back to the regular nigga head nod and keep it moving.
Right. One of the things that really is interesting about your background a little bit is that your stepdad bought you a Casio, which got you first into music and keyboarding, and then your grandfather was feeding you guitar and trying to get you into music in some form, and then your mom enrolled you into violin lessons. So you were like kind of just like always pushed into music, even though your interest was like football, girls, and doing anything else. But then you found a passion behind it. But the funny thing I was noticing is that none of the people who were pushing music onto you themselves had a musical background. It's like, were they just sort of like seriously trying to like get you to be who they thought they should be?
So like my granddad, like I can credit a lot of my love for music, like in general, to my granddad. He was the kind of guy who would come in the house with a glass of whiskey, turn on his huge sound system. Like you remember them old sound systems where it's like multiple cabinets and it's like he would blast that with a glass of whiskey and he's like bumping the OJs and like it would make the whole house warm. Like no matter what time of day it was, like it was just a beautiful thing. So he was like a real music lover. and he had played a few instruments, but he was never like in a band or anything like that. So like he would bring home a bass guitar one day, be like, "Hey, why don't you figure this out?" Hated it, didn't want to do it. He'd bring home like, I feel bad about the money he spent. He'd bring home like a lead guitar. "Hey, why don't you try this out?" Hated it, didn't want to do it. Like I think I started violin. My mom put me in violin class at like 4th or 5th grade, and that I actually took a liking to. I don't know why, but I took a liking to it. But we ended up not being able to, like, we were renting the violin. Ain't nobody had no money to like flat out buy a violin, so that kind of stopped after 6th grade. And then after that I kind of didn't really do much seriously. Like I loved music. I listened to music all the time, but I didn't really start like getting back into music until maybe like 15 years old, where my stepdad, who also did not have a musical background, decides to, like, I told him that I wanted to like make beats, and he was like, "Oh, okay," and he got me a Casio keyboard, and the rest is history from there. I really don't know like what made all these. I don't know what people saw that made them go, "Hey, this kid needs to be doing something musical." But I mean, it worked out, and a lot of people have the story of like your immediate family being like, "No, don't do music. You got to do something. You got to do something else. Stay away from music." And like the whole time, my immediate family was like, "Here, do this, do that, do this." So.
Was that a positive though? Because my 12-year-old, we just bought him an electric drum set, and he likes it. Like now, I hear him just sort of banging on it, and he's taking lessons over at Guitar Center. So it's not intense yet. But like as a youth yourself, do you think that sort of being introduced to it young helped navigate you when you became more passionate about it later on?
Absolutely. Like just I always go back to my music foundation is like listening to old soul records and jazz records with my granddad, listening to Outkast and Mobb Deep and Scarface with my dad, and then my mom was like a huge TLC, Jagged Edge. Like this, so like this is kind of like the cacophony of music that I'm growing up in, and like it's just like I want to raise my daughter the same way. Like I can't quantify how great it was to just be like filled with music all the time. Like to this day, I'm walking down the street, I'm walking down Lower Wacker at my job, and I'm hearing melodies. You know what I'm saying? Like it's and I think that comes from having been like inundated with it as a child.
Yeah. Was there an artist that approaching it from sort of a different angle? Was there like an artist that you were listening to that made you fall in love with that idea of making beats? Was it Mobb Deep records or something must have prompted you to say that to your dad?
So at maybe this is even before I expressed the desire to make beats. I might have been like 10 or 11, and I was listening to at that point it was old, but I was listening to Missy Elliott actually, and she had it's the record with her and the Brat, and it's like bum bum da da dun 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 like that. I can't remember the name of it right now, but like I can vividly remember being in my grandmother's house listening to that song. But I can remember listening to that song being like, I want to make music. Like I want to do that. Like whoever was in charge of making the beat, I want to do that. And I don't think I even had those words, but I knew that's what I wanted to be doing at some point.
Word. And fast forwarding to now, sorry, Gabe. What's the hardware that you got around you right now? What do you swear by as far as what you're making right now? Because it's some real next level stuff, man. And it's crazy where your name pops up. I just noticed that Swade on the track, and then I was going through like all my new music, and I was like, oh man, he touches a lot of this.
Man, it's a blessing. Some of the stuff that I like swear by is FL Studio. Like FL Studio is the GOAT dog to me. Ableton, Logic, all y'all shut up. Even though They're good. They're good. It's all fine. It's all wonderful. Right now I got a Korg mini log that I rock with a lot. I got a machine for drum programming, and then actually a homie of mine sent me NPC Renaissance not too long ago, and I've been trying to like learn that. But the NPC software is wild, bro. Like it's like they're still working within the limitations of having been made in the 1980s, but it's a different workflow. It's a different workflow. So like it exercises my brain in a different way. So I like it.
What?
Dude, what about when I think you were at 15? I think it was Instruments of God. Is that the name of the
Yeah, whoa. You were doing some deep dive. Yo, yuck. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, so like when I first started making music, I was like heavy in the church. And it was a group of three of us, like my two best friends at the time. We were in a group and we named the group Instruments of God, and we were going around Florida, Florida and South Georgia, just doing shows and rapping in people's churches, even though they acted like they didn't really want us to be there.
Now let's talk about the group that you are currently working with right now. Over at Pelham Jr. Right? With, friend of the show, Pat Jr.
Yeah.
How did? Well, first off, let's get into what y'all do over there, because it's very specific as far as sound design. And you've explained this. This is not I just saw what they called when they're stomping on watermelons and stuff.
It's not Foley. It's not
Foley. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
But what are y'all doing over there? And I think it's real special. Tell the people.
Yeah. So essentially, like, we create compositions for producers to sample. So like a lot of times, if you want to go sample the hot, I don't know, let's say you want to sample a Sierra song. I don't know. That's what you want to do. There's going to be a lot of red tape to clearing that sample, right? So what we like to do is provide a simpler solution to that problem, because we're producers ourselves who are running into that problem where we got a hot record and we want to get it out to people, but we know this sample is unclearable. It's Michael Jackson. It's never getting cleared. It's Marvin Gaye. Like, I'm about to get sued just for saying his name. So we create compositions of a bunch of different styles, and we have different kind of levels of selling. So like there's some that are just flat out royalty free, and then there's some where it's like, okay, if you take this and you get it placed on a major label or with somebody of notoriety, then we're gonna need some publishing. We're gonna need some credit, but it's not gonna be a hassle. The terms are easy. Like, it's let's get it. Like, we provided the loop. Let's all win. That's really kind of the idea of, like, we're providing tools that we think will help anybody win.
Absolutely. Yeah. And jumping off the back of that, you've been, sorry, Gabe, I stepped on your question again. jumping off the back of that, collabing with him over Twitter. And it seems like y'all got involved with each other sort of after the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, working remotely, y'all have been going back and forth. Like, he makes a beat, you rap over it. You make a beat, he rap over it. Talk about that dynamic and making that content, because it gets real creative, especially the latest one. Yeah.
So Pat is like really like my real homie, like in real life. The first time we worked together was like on a project of mine that I sometimes don't even like to talk about because it got taken down due to sample clearances. You see, yeah. But like the first time we worked together was on that project. He made a beat for me, and then we kind of just like via the internet kind of chopped it up and just grew the relationship through there. And he's grown to be one of my best friends. One of the people that, like, I show new music. I'm like, hey, how does this sound? Like that. One of those guys, like really a part of the team of what I do. And I'm the same for him. So like, we were just kind of like at home during the pandemic. Then like, let's do something fun. Like, it'll be a way to like get people a little bit more interested in what we're doing, and ultimately, like, it keeps us sharp. Like We're not just sitting around waiting for an opportunity. You got to do something to make an opportunity come about, you know? And it's been cool that some people really reached out and like they've been enjoying what we've been doing. Like it's definitely something we want to keep going and into the future and just see how long we can do it. But it's fun. Like it's 16 bars. It's a challenge. It's do both of the things you love and you get to do it with a friend. Like it's fire.
Man, that's ain't nothing better than that.
Yeah.
You often talk about like music as like communication, or that you yourself are communicators of music. You can hear the kids in the back.
Oh yeah.
But what about the communication part of making music and collaborating and helping artists see their vision? Because I know that you mentioned that sometimes you used to work with artists who don't necessarily have the full set yet, but they have the drive and there's something about them that's interesting.
Yeah.
What about like that communication process that you really get excited about?
I think like I'm a person who loves story, right? So like it's part of the reason I love film, part of the reason I love music. Like I love story and I love people's story. So getting to work with somebody like on a real one-to-one basis is like fulfilling to me in a way because like I love to help people create. I love to bring to fruition ideas, whether it's my ideas, somebody else's ideas. Like I think at the end of the day, like I'm a communicator and a creator. Like that's all I really want to do. That's all I really want to do. So like to be able to sit with like an Asar and he's telling me what's going on in his life and what things he's trying to communicate, or to be able to sit with a Pat and do the same thing, or be able to sit anybody that I've worked with like intimately and not just like sold a beat online. We're really talking. Like we're trying to get somewhere. We're trying to get across a message, and the message, like I said, the message don't always got to be deep. The message could be "nigga, I'm raw," but it's a message. You know what I'm saying? like, so you know that's where I find joy. Like I spent time as a teacher for like a summer in a summer program, and just talking to the kid. Like half the time I was a terrible teacher because half the time I didn't do the curriculum. Like I was just talking to kids and getting to know where they come from, how'd you grow up, what's going on in your life. Like that's what I care. Like I see people and I wonder things. Like I'll see random people and I'll wonder later in the day, like I wonder how that guy's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like the dude who was delivering pizzas when I was walking by on State. You know what I'm saying? Like just a random. So like yeah, I love story.
Word.
You I mean, that's funny
because
ahead, you know. Real quick, because I think that's because you were studying broadcast journalism with a specialization in films. That makes a lot of sense now. Journalism potentially storytelling. That would make sense. Why infatuation with that?
Man, you did your Googles. I didn't even know it was this much to Google about me.
You got a digital footprint. It's a pretty big one. It's like that scene from Jurassic Park. You know, it's like, no, you standing in the joint right now. Yeah.
That's crazy.
We like to do a couple fun questions before we hop off the interview. You're listed in your bio as the love child of Angela Davis and TPain. TPain is one of my favorite artists, so that makes you, by the transitive property, one of my favorite love children.
Okay, that works.
So there's that. My question is, best song by TPain, go.
Best song. Okay. I love T-Pain's catalog, like the entire catalog.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, so like even the stuff that like I know that he was like, I just threw this out here. But okay, I would say the best song, not the most popular, not the most fun, but the best song is Drowning Again. I don't know if anyone knows what record that is. It's like a piano ballad. He's just singing and there's hella harmonies. That's the best song. I wouldn't even say it's my favorite, but I would be like, this is T-Pain at optimal level.
Hey, I'm writing that down. I haven't even heard that one. So I'm on that. I'm on that. All right, second question. You talked about your love of stories, and we didn't get to talk about fatherhood, but Shorty is making her presence known. Favorite children's story to read to your daughter?
Man, so we're not at the full story level yet, so we're still reading books that are like this is a nose, this is a mouth, this is a like we're still at that level.
Right.
But I don't know, man. Like I'm excited about like trying to get into like some of the like lesser known like Black history stories. Like I bought a book that's like Black women in. I really wish I could remember who it's written by a Black woman, but it's about Black women throughout history. And it's for kids. It's really simplified, but it's like just talking about like how awesome Black women have been throughout time. And since I'm raising a Black woman, I would think that'd be a great thing to start her off with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that, man. Okay, last question. I know you lived in Tampa for a while, and the picture that you sent us had the Tampa Bay Bucks hat on. So this one a little bit of Florida football for my boy Boots, wherever he at. But the 600th touchdown ball that Mike Evans gave to a fan. I want you to imagine yourself, Southpaw Swade. You get handed the 600th touchdown ball.
Bro.
What are you bargaining for?
First of all, if Mike Evans gives me that ball, I'm getting the hell out this stadium. I'm gone. I am no longer in the stadium. And really, honestly, Tom Brady gonna have to come off like Tom Brady would have had to come off at least $100K. At least, like that's where we start negotiating. I think he gave that dude like a high five and a Bitcoin, and it's like, nah, bro. Like if you want, this is monumental. Nobody's ever done this before. This is you, dog. I need at least $100K. Like, come on, it's easy for you. That's your game check. That's less than your game check. Give me that. That dude, he's too much of a good Samaritan. I don't think he was a Floridian. I really don't think he was a Floridian because that's not how we give it up. Nigga, a Floridian get a chance to finesse, we gonna finesse. And that's another part of like why I love Chicago, because that's the same thing.
All right, follow-up question to that before we let you go. $100K, what are you spending it on?
Man, $100K, I'm spending that extremely practically. Like I'm wiping out like I'm a dad, bro. So I'm wiping out student loans. I'm setting aside money for college if my daughter wants to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even have I'm still staying in the same exact apartment. I'm not moving.
You're not buying the mansion.
Yeah. I'm not getting a new car. Like $100K. What's $100K really? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like niggas get millions and they want to go do like, man, a million ain't even a million when you bust it down through taxes. So what's $100K? You know what I'm saying?
Man, you spitting a lot of facts right now. You spitting a lot of facts right now. Yo, thank you so much for your time, man. I'm gonna let Weekend Gabe close out the show.
Bet.
All right, Southpaw Swade. I don't know why I keep saying Southpaw Swade joining us here on the Weekend Gabe. I think it's just because of the Sox, like Southpaw or baseball.
I feel you.
But thank you so much for giving us your time and having a great laugh with us and enjoy. Please feel free to come back whenever you're ready or you got something new that you want to share with us, or if you have unreleased Kendrick Lamar tracks that you want to release.
I absolutely do not have unreleased Kendrick Lamar. I got some unreleased stuff by some niggas that's fire, but it ain't Kendrick Lamar. So.
I'm sure it's equally exciting. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. We appreciate your time and let the baby letting us have a little piece of her father's time.
Yeah, I'm about to go grab her now. Thank you, man.
All right, Southpaw Swade.
Incredible.
I always love the reaction when we go digging for little tidbits about people's background. They're like, "Yo, I didn't know you knew that. Like, how'd you find out?" Like, eyes and ears only.
We got it. You know what I mean? We got it. And yo, man, there's a lot to talk about with Southpaw Swade. So I hope we have him back because I got through like 3 of the questions that
It
that
looked
I
up and I
had
was
for him.
like, "Oh, our time is up." I didn't even. It went by really that fast, but
Yeah.
it's such a fantastic guest to get into. Hey, I'm Weekend Gabe. Thanks for checking out this latest episode of Weekend at Gabe's. Click on any of the links swirling around my head, and also hit the subscribe button while you're here. Thanks for checking out us here on YouTube.